Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the breaking news. Ronald Koeman has been sacked by Everton Football Club. We just happen to have Derek Mountfield, which is a stroke of luck, isn't it? In the studio. Dex, your immediate thoughts, because we were halfway through a very, very interesting video about the game against Arsenal, and the news was broke to us. I mean, what's your initial thoughts?
Not shocked.
Not shocked
at all. Now that what's happened in the last 6 weeks and the culture around the club and the feeling around the club, something had to happen. I didn't think it happened today. I thought it might have got the next couple of games just before the European tie, but they've made a decision now. They stand by it.
Yeah. The
big thing is now who comes in. You know, there's not many great managers out there who are going to be available for next to nothing. We've got to wait and see what we can. But I'm not surprised. It's looked poor. It's looked disjointed. We've talked on the show. We were talking about leadership or lack of it, and you can see it. The big leaders. I put a tweet out this morning saying we're in a false position, but we're not where we are now because we're playing poorly. But think about it. The decision was made at the start of the season, and this big collective we, the board, the director of majority shareholder, director of football and the manager, to make all these signings, and that we has now become an I.
Yeah.
And he's gone now because he couldn't handle it, and I don't think he'll look back with certain good things, but the last 6 to 8 weeks the fans will look back and nothing but the wrong man for the job.
Yeah, the club statement is Everton Football Club can confirm that Ronald Koeman has left the club. Chairman Bill Kenwright, the board of directors and major shareholder Farhad Mashiri would all like to express their gratitude to Ronald for the service he has given for the club over the past 16 months and for guiding the club to the 7th place in last season's Premier League campaign. And that's it. Short,
but most of them, they always are short and sweet.
Yeah.
The thing is, what we on the show will come out. We were talking about who's going to take over or who could. Managers now, whoever comes in has got to get Everton's tempo up. They've got to get the tempo flow. We've got to get a bit more passion, a bit more belief in the squad, in the team. We've got some great footballers in our team, but the tempo and the belief is not there. So whoever come, we don't know. Unsworth and Joe Royle might get the job on a temporary basis. I guarantee you will see some urgency, some bit more discipline, a bit more organisation, a bit more passion shown by the players, because the last 6 weeks have been a passionate episode. I've been to 3 or 4 home games. I went down to Brighton the other week and I went against Arsenal, and you sit there and you're going, oh come on boys, show something. All around me I can hear these arguments and these shouts, and people can see what's going on the pitch and see what's wrong. It wasn't coming from the man who should have been sorted out. He's now paid the penalty. He won't worry. He'll walk away with his wheelbarrow money. He'll walk away from another job in the next 6 to 12 months. He's not care, because that attitude of being part of the club wasn't in his makeup. I don't think he never really got. I don't think he ever got the club like previous managers have done.
I mean, we sat here this morning, Baz, and we were checking our phones every 5 minutes, and I think someone from the BBC actually said Koeman led training this morning. He said leading Everton training, feels he still has the club support. No demands placed on him. That was at 12:22, and it's now 2 o'clock. He was sacked around 1:30. What a difference! This has took me by shock, simply because there didn't seem to be any pressure on him. What, an hour and a half ago?
Yeah. It's one of them. It was going to happen. I thought it would be last night after the game, but the club have been very quiet. There's not been many murmurings from the club at all in the last 2 or 3 weeks. You look at the West Ham situation. They've talked about Slaven Bilic. The rumours are he now has 2 games to save his job, but there's nothing come out of Everton. And we all thought, we were talking before the show started, before we were sitting there saying, no, I think he's got a couple more games, or blah. All of a sudden from nowhere they've done it. I'm surprised it wasn't done last night.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised he's gone.
Not surprised he sacked him, but like you say, I was feeling it'd probably be last night, but they've obviously slept on it, and if they've done the rewatch like we did, no wonder.
But you don't know what they might have sat him down after training and had a talk to him, and maybe he's not given the right answers. Maybe they've spoken to 1 or 2 of the senior players. Maybe they've what's it like around here, and they're going, oh, you don't know. But I'm surprised it was done last night. What's done now. As an Evertonian, we now have a smile on our face for the first time in many weeks. Probably a lot of them will do. Tuesday or Wednesday at Chelsea is one of them. It's a cup that could sometimes get in the way. Sunday at Leicester, week on Thursday in Lyon. That's when we expect to start to see a little bit more from us now, because I can see David Unsworth and Joe will getting the job on a temporary basis like they did when Roberto Martinez went. Long term, I don't think David will want the job. He might do, but I don't think he's right for it. I don't want David Moyes in. I think that's a backward step, possibly massively. Who's out there? Sean Dyche being mentioned, Eddie Howe's being mentioned, David Wagner's being mentioned. The club have to make a massive. This is the biggest decision they're going to make now on who's the next manager for the first time in a long time, and they've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders now.
Is there any school of thought that they might have put the feelers out over the last few days and had something positive last night?
Possibly, you don't know. There might have been. There's always murmurings out there. A lot of clubs now have agents working for them.
Yeah.
So the agent who works for Everton might be setting the feelers out. I don't know. You've mentioned Tuchel.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche got mentioned last week. David Moyes, Ancelotti's been mentioned.
Silva at Watford.
There's loads of people out there, but you just think about who would want to come to Everton work with the current squad. How much will he be guaranteed to spend in January? We just spent £140 million in August, and it went nowhere. What's the manager going to get? So is it right? Well, I don't want him, and him. It's happened to me before in the past. Management, you're gone. I want so. Oh, that's going to cost us. Oh, club might go. They might go for someone we don't know. It might be a Silva. It might be a Dyche. You don't know. But it's a big. This is the big decision we're going to make at our club now for many years, and it's got to be the right one, because we're in a situation now where we need to start performing. We need someone who can organise us very quickly. Because we're in a situation where we're looking over our shoulder massively. We're not looking that way. We're looking, wow, we're stuck down there now. We've got to get out of it quickly. This decision is massive for the club now.
Where do you think it went wrong?
I don't think. Did he ever get the club? Did he ever get the passion of Everton Football Club and what it meant to people? I don't think he did. But what we need to understand is that, and my phone's going out. I'm all over the place. I'm on the radio soon, I think. I don't think he fully got the club. We were talking on the show that we'll come out on that. He expected people to be better than they were, but I don't think he led the team very well. I don't think he ever set the players up and this is how we're going to play. We've seen different formations, different signings, different players, different positions, and I don't think he settled on a steady formation with a steady group of players. If you're going to play four at the back, keep the same four for 6 weeks. Let them develop understanding. But I don't think he ever gave the players enough opportunities. Did the players respond to him? I'm not sure they did. Did you lose the dressing room? I don't know. But there was definitely something between the manager and the players that wasn't right. There was a disconnect somewhere that didn't look right for me.
What about, obviously we've just spoken before we come off on air about the experiment almost, the Steve Walsh situation. Where does this all fall in? Because one of the excuses we've heard and we've spoken many times is not getting a striker, not getting certain players. Okay, we spent a hell of a lot of money in the summer, but we didn't get what we actually needed more than anything. We bought 3 number 10s without getting a striker. We never got a left back, we never got a centre back. So how much does this decision affect that relationship? Because again, there was talk that the pair never got on, never saw eye to eye. Never
met either person, either man, so I don't know the pair, so I can't comment on how they are as individuals. But what does a director of football do? What is his title? I've never worked out what that DOF means. Steve Walsh was brought in because of the reputation he developed at Leicester of getting these players coming through, i.e. the Riyad Mahrez's, the Jamie Vardys. They were 2 very lucky signings for him. You don't get a Riyad Mahrez every 12 months. You don't get a Jamie Vardy every 12 months. You get them once every 3 or 4 or 5 years. A bit of luck. So, have they come in? Did they gel? I don't know. Some of the signings surprised me. They surprised a lot of the fans. Koeman's gone. Will Walsh follow? You don't know. Is that next in line? If the new manager comes in, he might not want the director of football. So where does that leave Steve Walsh? It's one of them. As I said before on my tweet this morning, there was a collective we with the director of football, the money invested, the manager, the staff. It just hasn't worked out. We can't, same as Everton 83, 84, 85, what turned us around. I can't put a finger on it. I can't put a finger on why it's gone wrong so dramatically within the space of 2 months.
Do you think we should be taking our time over this decision with the fact that we do have Unsworth at the club, we do have Joe Royal, I suppose, to just give us that. I'm not saying he should get the job. I'm just he's there in the background. He can help Joe. He can help David Unsworth with that little bit of experience. We have got people at the club, Ferguson, Ebrel. There is people at the club who can sort of steady the ship. Do you think they should just take the time now to find that right man? Because as you just said, that man has to fall in line with what the club want. Because I don't personally think Steve Walsh is going anywhere. Because that's the continuity the club have decided on. And to be fair, Ronald Koeman said he was fine with that, because that was something he'd worked with at Southampton as well. So that wasn't new to him. It just, for whatever reason, they never saw eye to eye on maybe the types of players. And who's to say some of the players that came in were Koeman's rather than Steve Walsh's? So
you don't know. It's the first time I've known Everton have a director of football. So it's the first time I've had it. So if it's the way forward, he stays in. Don't rush into the decision. Don't rush and appoint someone within 10 days. We've got to give Everton a chance to settle down. Whoever comes into Everton now, you know, if he's still employed by a club, it's going to cost us X amount of pounds to get rid of. We're going to have to pay off Koeman and all his backroom staff. So if all the backroom staff go straight away, who's going to do the fitness coaching? Who's going to be the goalkeeping coach? Who's going to do this? They've got to be sorted out in the interim period straight away. So whoever comes in will bring their own staff. Don't rush it. Take your time. Analyse it. Make sure the person that comes in understands what the club is and what the fans want. And tell the board's got to say, this is what we're looking for. Could it be a Sean Dyche? Could it be an Eddie Howe? Could it be a David Wagner? Could it be a European man, a Tuchel? Ancelotti's been linked again with every job around at the moment. You know, you don't know. It has to be a decision where, as a former player and Everton fan myself, the appointment has to be someone I can see who can take the club forward. And what I've seen in the last 8 weeks, I couldn't see the club going forward under this manager. But I think whoever comes in has to have that desire to move the club up that. It won't be a quick process. No, it's going to be done in stages. But we have to be careful.
There's lots. I'm just looking at the Facebook comments, and there's lots of people saying, "Please, not Moyes."
No, not for me.
But let me just throw this in. No. But I can see a situation where they give it to someone to steady the ship for the rest of the season, almost like saying, right,
you steady the ship January onwards. We've got potential for 2 months before the transfer window to get somebody in. You don't steady someone to steady the ship and they've got a transfer window.
No,
they come in after that. We've got to get some between now and Christmas. We've got an ideal 6 to 8 weeks to get somebody in now. So come January, they can start doing the wheel and dealing if they need to wheel and deal. This new one might go and say, I can work with this squad. They just do work a bit harder. You don't know. But I think David Moyes would be a backward step.
Definitely.
We've got to look for the future of the club now, and I think over the next 6 to 8 weeks we've got the ideal chance to get somebody in before the transfer window starts, or just as it starts, and we can start getting the bodies in that manager wants. We're going to be spending fortunes again. Unfortunately, we're going to spend more money than we can probably afford to, but the decision's being made now. But let's not look what's happened in the past. Let's now start looking what we can do in the future. I think an interim manager has to be interim as in 3-4 weeks, not till the end of the season, because we missed a big chunk of that transfer window then, which means we can get bodies in for that new manager.
And the other thing with Moyes, he's been sacked 3 times since
listen,
he left.
I'm not.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm available though.
Well, I'll take that.
Right. You play more golf than Koeman does.
But I've got a job to do. I'm not managing my
another
team.
Name. I'm just going to throw another name, only because a couple of people have mentioned it. Allardyce. Now that would tear my stomach.
I don't think Sam will manage again. I think he's had enough. I think he's happy in what he's doing now. He's got a little job in the media. He's probably playing a bit more golf as well. He's probably nice and chilled out. He said he didn't want to manage again. He's been linked with 3 or 4 jobs, and he kept saying, no, I've had it now. I think Sam, I wouldn't put Sam anywhere near the window of opportunity to come into Everton football.
No.
I think Sam's had his time. I think he's happy now, retired from the game.
I mean, I just don't see any massive candidate. You've got your 3 or 4 weeks ago. No. What I'm saying is 3 or 4 weeks ago, I want Ancelotti. You know, want the big name. But now I'm like, I don't really. Do I really want Ancelotti? Is Ancelotti? Even if we could get him, is he the type of manager that could come in and take a team from the bottom 3 upwards?
We said before, there's not many managers out there. Most of the good managers are employed in football clubs.
Of course,
they've got the jobs. You're not going to get a good manager from one of the bigger clubs, so we're going to have to say, oh, we might have to take 6 weeks. We might have to we might have to keep going. We'll give you 2 million. We'll give you 2.2. We'll give you 2.5. It might be a 3 or 4 week process of teasing the club with a bit of a release clause of the manager to get him out. But there's not many managers out there who are going to be instantly available. And that's where football supporters sometimes go, oh, we want so. Most of them are in jobs.
But so
you've got to be careful.
Trust it isn't though, and that's the he's a young, hungry manager.
You don't know.
But again, he's a gamble, isn't he?
Yeah.
Never worked in the Premier League, he's a gamble.
Let's just talk about Unsworth for a minute. There's a lot of people suggesting Unsworth for the job. You mentioned before we were talking, before we even knew the manager being sacked, about Unsworth. You don't really like the idea.
No, David's never had a managerial job yet. He's had the under-23s. He's done a fantastic job with the under-23s.
Yeah.
We got the second division of the Premier League last year, got into the top flight again. He's doing a decent job, but does David want to manage in the league? You've got to ask the question, does David want to manage a Premier League football club? He's had a little snip when he was the caretaker for that few weeks when we sat Roberto Martinez. But does he want to be it? I'm not sure David does. But is that then going to be too big a step for him, going from under 23 level to the top job in Everton? It might be too much for him. I personally would give him it on a temporary basis to try and steady the ship, work a bit harder with Joe Royle alongside. It looked quite pretty when they came in 18 months, 2 years ago. Yeah. But long term, I'm not sure whether David would want the job.
Well, these are the odds right now. With the
he was favourite. I saw one this morning. He was favourite this morning. I saw David Unsworth.
David Moyes is 3-1 favourite. David Unsworth is 7-2. Pellegrini is 8-1. Sean Dyche 8-1. Carlo Ancelotti 10-1. Rafa Benitez 10-1. Chris Coleman 12-1. Sam Allardyce 12-1. Duncan Ferguson 14-1. Mikel Arteta 16-1.
There the other night.
Mancini 16-1. Wagner 20-1. Thomas Tuchel 20-1. Walter Mazzari 20-1. Brendan Rodgers 25-1. Slaven Bilic. What are we? What the team? We could do that.
Well, you look at some of those names there. There's probably only one in Sean Dyche who's probably in a Premier League position now. The rest of all people have been in there and come out of it, and then some have tried to go back into it and failed. So again, odds are what odds are. People will put names down and put a price on it.
Of course they will.
As I said before, it's now up to the Bill Kenwright, Ford Bashiri, Steve Walsh, whoever's else involved in that process to get the right person. We all thought last year Koeman was the right person. We all thought, and it looked quite good. Then you remember December time last year, we sort of stalled for about 6 weeks, but we've stalled for 8 weeks now, or probably 10 weeks now. And this is probably the biggest decision we're going to make as a football club, apart from going to the new stadium in the next 5 years. It's got to be the right person now. I don't want them to rush into it. Even talk to people, talk to other people around the game, talk to former players, find out what the consensus is, but don't just dive in now and appoint somebody and make it the wrong decision again. Because we're in a situation now where we're looking desperate. I don't like that word desperate. We're looking like a team that's got no idea. The new manager, interim or full time, has to get that belief back in the players very quickly.
But what I would say is, if you look at the fixtures, ignore the Chelsea game, but the fixtures coming up are very winnable. The next 4 Premier League games are very winnable.
Every game's winnable.
Well, of course, but when you've won the league,
Man United on Saturday.
Of course, but
not so Ronald.
But do we, or did Koeman and the team give a little bit of disrespect to the Burnleys and the Bournemouths and the Huddersfields? Those teams don't ever disrespect anybody. They wear their socks off all the time. I think we haven't done that. We need a manager now who's going to get that back into our players. What you show from the terraces, I see it, I hear it all the time. There's a passion, there's a belief. You go in your thousands away every single week to the away games, and you don't see the same passion back. The manager who comes in has to start putting some passion back into the players. We've been passionless now for 2 months, and that's there he is there. He never showed any passion on the sidelines. He never showed any. Did he ever get the club? I'm not sure he did. The new manager has to get the club and get us back in this situation very, very quickly.
What will Ross Barkley be thinking right now?
Where's my contract? I don't know. That's the sort of thing that you look. Ross has lots of ability, but he has certain demons, I think, floating around his body and his head. Was he badly advised by his agents and the people around him? And Koeman should have been having him on their side, developing people around him, letting the Sigurdssons and the guys develop Barkley into a better player. He made a decision to axe Ross totally, and you can't you can't just ask one of your better players. But has Ross progressed in the last 3 years? Or has he stalled as well, even before Koeman came in?
I think he's up and down.
Had he stalled a little bit? Has he not progressed like we wanted him to? But he had an ideal chance to make Ross Barkley into a fantastic... He was a fantastic player, but Koeman himself. He had the chance to make Ross Barkley into a fantastic player, get into his head, tell him, cheats him right. But instead he just went, well, get over there, don't want you now. You know, and we're paying someone a lot of money who's not been involved for probably 8 months now.
You just mentioned the money, and we spoke about this on numerous times, and we spoke about this in a positive way, but obviously it's a negative way now, about Koeman's coldness toward. Do you think that's made the decision easier for the club? Because when it was Martinez, every week we'd sit here and we'd be annoyed, but it'd be tinged with sadness because we liked the man. Because we know he tried to put everything into Everton Football Club. It's just that the way he did it was wrong. He had an ethos and he wasn't willing to bend it. And fans give him the benefit of the doubt, I think, for that. Whereas nobody has given this man any benefit of the doubt. I mean, if you go on social media or you're at the match or anything, the arguments I've heard in the last few weeks weren't, should we sack him? It was, who should we replace him with? The fans... You know, we've been telling the lads in the office, the Liverpool fans and stuff, they're like, you really want to sack him? Like, he's gone. I'm telling you, he's gone. We've been saying this for weeks. Why? It's that, for me, it's the coldness. It's
the arrogance of the Dutch people. You know, there was an arrogance about the man, I've been told, and it's me. It's not the we. It's me. And the we's taken charge and sacked the me now. It's sometimes, as a manager, your head's always on the block. You're the man that's leading the club. You're the man that dictates what goes on the field of play. And what I've watched in the 5-6 games I've seen this season, there's been no direction, no leadership, and that's the worry that we're now in a situation. So we're 18th in the table, 19th. You know, we're in the bottom 3. You know, it's a false position what we spent in the summer, but it's not. It's a genuine, honest, true position. We deserve to be where we are.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've got to get out of that situation sooner rather than later. We don't want to be struggling on and on and on. We've got to make it right quickly.
Right, I'm going to throw this in now because this is breaking, or that it has broke from certain newspapers. Certain newspapers are saying,
I've not got the job, have I? They haven't told me.
Sean Dyche.
Doesn't surprise me. The thing with Sean Dyche is he's done it in the Premier League. He's well organised. He's an up-and-coming manager. Lots of people are talking about him. Loads of positives. Knows what he wants. Squeezes everything. He's a little bit. It smacks a little bit of David Moyes, young David Moyes. But we're never going to know whether he can go to the next level if he don't get a chance.
Played against Sean as a player.
Okay.
Played at lower levels.
Yeah.
Did a fantastic job. He'll never get a manager's job by being plucked from Chesterfield to manage.
Nope.
He's taken a team up in the Premier League and he's stabilised that club very well. He'll be organised. I think Michael Keane's missing him.
Yeah,
Michael Keane's missing Sean Dyche and the organisation.
I mean, at the moment, that's just newspaper speculation, but that's a name that's getting thrown. And I actually mentioned yesterday, I was actually warming to the idea of Sean Dyche because we had this conversation a few weeks ago, actually. And listen, but I'll give all credit to Baz. Baz was sitting here with me 4 years ago before we'd even appointed Martinez, and Baz wanted Thomas Tuchel. And we were having this discussion saying, well, hang on, Thomas Tuchel went from Metz, a very... Mainz, whatever. Metz, he's on the Metz. Went from Mainz.
Allegedly.
We went from Mainz, a small sort of club. Obviously, that's where Klopp, and he was given his chance by Dortmund. Now, I was saying, well, what's the difference with Dyche? He's cut his teeth at a smaller club. He's done very, very well, and now, or presumably soon, he'll probably feel like he deserves that step up. Now, a lot of our fans will be saying, Sean Dyche, what kind of football does he play, or who's he going to attract? But all managers have to start somewhere. They all have to. They don't all just roll in and win a couple of trophies at the first club they're at and everything's great. There's a line that they have to go through. There's a process. There's an education as well. They have to make the mistakes. And from what I thought of Dyche was that certainly last season you looked at him and went, well, look at them, they're alright at home, but they're terrible away.
Great at all.
This season,
they've sorted themselves out, and maybe
it's the fact that it's almost like when he's at Burnley, it's almost like, well, he's working with the tools he's got, and if he gets to take that next step, the tools will get.
I know where you're coming from, but the thing is, we said before off air that you work with the players you work with. So if Sean Dyche has a good squad of players there, with Ian Wone is number 2, a really good group of players who they know how to play the Sean Dyche way.
Play with Ian Wone before he went to Forest.
Yeah, and they're all good, honest, hard-working footballers. If he is the favourite and does come, he's going to work with people of a different level to what he's used to. People who think they're better. This group of players he's got have been fantastic for him. He's really got them to gel well. Different level he comes to us. We've got players who think they're better than
Would you think that maybe some of our players need that level of honesty?
I think someone like Sean Dyche would be great for the players.
Yeah.
Because I think he'll organise them and he'll work them, and we'll be we said before, I don't think we're not as fit as we think we are.
No,
we're not. We couldn't play the Huddersfield or the Burnley way at the moment. So Sean Dyche would get us bum. Is it right? I don't know, but I certainly think we'd be a more organised and disciplined side under a Sean Dyche than we're under Ronald Koeman.
And another name, I mean, this is another name, I'm just throwing this in for context. Paulo Fonseca, he's Shakhtar Donetsk manager. I think they won the treble last year. They're in the Champions League. Now, listen, I don't know anything about him, but what I mean is you've got that, but what I'm saying is you've got a manager there, you've got two kinds of managers there. You've got a Premier League, hard working, back to the wall, basic kind of manager, and you've got someone who's all fancy, all the bells, all the whistles, won all the trophies, looks great on paper. Do we shy away from those kind of managers and think, well, actually, do we need that? We
could spend the next 24 hours debating who to put in charge, but what the board should be doing now, piece of paper, right, we've got we've got they used to have a list of half a dozen people now who they've already identified as possible candidates for our job, whether Sean Dyche is on it or Sam Allardyce is on it or Slaven Bilic is on it or David, I don't know, but they should have a list of players now, a list of managers who they want to talk to or be allowed to talk to, because some of them will still be employed. The club can say, sorry, you're not talking to our manager, so that might go, he's off the list. So we should have a list of people by now who we want to talk to, but all I want our next manager to do is to get Everton Football Club, is to get the passion, get that passion back into the players, get that discipline back into, because there's been a lack of discipline. Players look like they don't know where they go, what position to take, who's marking, blah blah blah. So let's get a bit of discipline, bit of shape, bit of organisation back, and someone like Sean Dyche will organise that properly. But I don't know who's going to cut. I haven't a clue. But the decision's made now. The man's gone. The next decision, I think, is the biggest one we'll make at our club until we decide to take us away from Goodison Park into a new stadium. It's a massive decision now for us.
Umanias outlasted Ronald Koeman.
Niash and Barkley are having a party. Funes Murray's doing the barbie for it.
It's one of them. Managers have their own ideas. He inherited a group of players and he wasn't happy. He tried to bring his own players in. It hasn't worked for him.
No.
We understand it doesn't always work for managers, but as you said today, he was cold, there was nothing to him, and you saw it on the sidelines. I'm surprised it's happened today. I thought it was going to happen last night. We were talking beforehand that it's not going to happen. All of a sudden, it's done.
Well, that's good by the board, because they've made the decision. You haven't let. I think in the past there'd been a tendency to let this.
But as we said before off air, that there's been nothing from Everton at all. West Ham have stated their 2 games. We've had nothing from Everton at all about the manager's position. Nothing whatsoever until about an hour and a half ago, when they've gone, right, he's gone. Simple as that. Now, as I said
and
before,
he took training. So they obviously just ransacked his office while he was.
Yeah, maybe they're just taking the notice board down of his thingy and wiping that team away for Wednesday night's team on the board. But I don't know. It's done now. We accept it's done. A lot of Everton fans will be absolutely delighted it's gone. A lot will be probably having parties now. But we've now got him. As I said, this now for me, the rumours are the stadium will go ahead. But the big decision now is we've got to get the right person in. Whether it be a Sean Dyche or a Tuchel or whoever, it's got to be the right person for us, because we've got to get out of that situation we're in now. Because we're in a situation which, if it drags on much longer, there's going to be people with no fingernails, never mind no fingers very soon, because we shouldn't be where we are. With the players we've got, we should not be where we are. But that means nothing in football. you are where you are, and we deserve where we are at the moment because we've been playing some awful football so far this season.
And Piers Morgan has used that as a stick to beat
Arsenal with. Well, he wants a Koeman.
So there you go.
You can get him.
Piers, you can have him.
You can get him.
Right, I think that's enough. We'll go away and finish some of those videos we were doing before we were rudely interrupted by Liverpool fans going, he's gone, he's gone, stop what you're doing.
Never seen you move so fast though in that though.
No.
There'll be a blare on the screen as he jumps past the screen. Honest.
Clearly never seen me play football then, Dex.
Oh yes, I have, mate.
Right, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you want, and was it the right decision? Thanks for watching Toffee TV. Thanks for Degs for being here. We'll see you
boys
later.
And girls.